how do these work? Because we've done TV and stuff. Like, what if we're in this? Like, do y'all edit? Like, or do we have to start all over? Okay.
Yeah. There will be some point in the middle of this thing where Corey coughs and
Yeah.
spits
Or
in the
what if
corner.
we just totally okay? So y'all do edit.
A big part of our sale on why we did Patterson Farms is the housing study. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but I mean that's something to bring up for you as we're trying to do, and this ties into the TAD. We're trying to do what they said, but unfortunately, to do what they said, we don't have the market rate to sell here.
The
sell
market's not where it needs to be. To get
the rent's nowhere near.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all it all ties back to the housing study because Melanie and I were on the committee. The housing committee that did all that.
When was that study? 2017?
No, it's later than that.
18.
Well, it may have been done in 18 and came out in 19. You could probably find that real quick.
Yeah, I was about to say, let me look it up. Corey, you even know what we're talking about?
No.
60% of the people who work in Dalton and make over $60,000 a year do not live here.
Oh, well, yeah.
So they
Isn't
make
that
our
surprising? Yeah.
They make our money and take it back to other communities.
Yeah.
Dalton or Whitfield County actually has a very good average income per worker.
The 10th highest in the state of Georgia.
And one of the worst of the people who live here.
62% of those who work in Whitfield County and earn $40,000 a year or more live outside of Whitfield County.
That's a strong statement.
Yeah.
In fact, the very first time they said it, the first meeting we have in that housing committee, I raised my hand. It was like all quiet. I didn't know anybody in there besides Melanie.
In that meeting.
I raised my hand. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think I was there.
I raised my hand. I'm like, can you say that again?
Hold on. You mispronounced the number. Say that one more
time.
Yeah,
something's backward. I don't know, but for real, of the people, 60. Yep. So 62%.
62%
that make over 60,000.
40,000.
Yeah, 40. That's even worse.
That's even worse.
So over 40,000 don't live here. They get on the interstate to go home.
When I worked at Mohawk, like anybody who was doing pretty well, they all lived like Chattanooga. They would drive an hour to get there as long as they lived in Chattanooga or wherever.
Yeah. But anyway, so was the New Georgians when Ellie High bought that and renovated it, was that Greenwood development or no?
No, that was that was pre his need to retire and therefore starting to develop community. So that's just the joke I say. Like, we did multifamily for many years and lived that experience that's exciting every day. And then I think he thought he was close to retiring, so he started developing.
So is he retired or no?
No. But it's funny. It's like, if you have to know him, the closer you get, like he's getting closer to retirement and he's getting busier, I think, than ever. So
I feel like that happens to a lot of people. Like they retire from their regular job and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, what other projects can I get into?
Yeah.
And then they end up looking back and going, wow, I should have just stayed at work because I've got more stuff to do now.
Yeah. I think it's just a personality. Like some people just like to have a project and, and what we do, it's good because we feel like we're contributing to our community. So.
Well, I know Melanie certainly has a heart for Dalton and making the community better, obviously. I mean, she met Ellie High when she was Economic Development Authority Director, I guess. And so, I mean, she cared about the community back then, too. That's when I met her as well.
Yeah, I think her family's 100 years in Dalton.
Yeah.
So she's definitely has roots here. And it's just, we talk about this all the time. Like as a builder, there's a lot of projects that we could take on and make money. Obviously, you're in business and you could build any kind of house, but for us, it's got to add value to the community. So we're not just throwing houses up. We look at a project and really see that we're doing it in a way where it really is contributing to what we need in Dalton. And that's what's really neat about the team itself, that it's like, we're just not going to throw a house up. It's, how do we keep the history of the land? How do we keep the 100-year-old trees, that kind of thing. And that's just not normal for a developer.
I'll give you the perfect example was Orchard. And when we started designing Orchard, mine and Mitchell's side from the development side was always, we got to figure out within a reason how many units we can fit, get the maximum density we can get on a project and still have some green space and make it nice. Well, on Orchard, we had originally platted 180 units and it fit well and there was a lot of green space. But there's a row of trees that was a fence line that goes down the center of the property. And a lot of them are 100-year-old type trees.
Oh, wow.
And we were taking every one of them out. And we agree on most things in our partnership.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular situation, she set her foot down and said, "We're not taking those trees down." And I'm like, "Well, you can't lead those trees and get the number of units you need to make our performer work. Because at the end of the day, like Karina said, we have to make money."
Yeah.
And she just said no. And she said, "You can make anything work if it's done right and you make it desirable."
Hmm.
And so we went back to the drawing board, ended up with 127 units. And our original performer, it was terrible. She's like, "No, if you do this, you can charge more.
Yeah.
And those units that are on those trees, people will pay more."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, they won't." I'm like, I just totally disagreed.
Yeah.
And we went back and forth, and of course, they're the equity partners. And so finally, I'm like, "Well, it's your money, so we'll do it your way." And the truth is, at the end of the day,
Melanie was right.
It was by far the most successful project we've ever done. From a sales standpoint, and honestly from a profit standpoint, and it worked. We made more profit than what our performa showed for 180 units. We made that money off of 127, so less risk.
Yeah.
So,
less risk, and I will say more aesthetically pleasing too.
100%.
You just
100% agree.
agree.
And that was at the time that was our 10th project, 10th development that we had done, and I had just never looked at numbers that way. It was always you put a price on a unit, and you got to fit as many as you can to justify the streets and the sewer and all the stuff that you can't see under the ground.
Yeah, no, she was ready to tie herself to that tree.
She really was.
Which again, I mean, looking back, obviously was the best decision.
I wish we had a picture of Melanie tied
absolutely.
to the tree. Like that would be fantastic.
And honestly, when you pull into Orchard, that's what just really makes that community. I mean, it's just really impressive that those oaks kind of greet you at the gate, and really so much more now at Patterson. There is a lot of history in that land, so we've really tried to honor that family and the land, and really keep that history alive and tell people, what used to be there, and just keep as much green space as we can. Lots of green space. I mean, we've got a 10-acre park where there will be things, like walking trails, sports courts that we haven't finalized. We're kind of trying to see what people are really wanting these days. I hear the pickleball is a popular thing, and dog park, lots of fun things, but in keeping the green. People just want to be surrounded by nature. So that's definitely at the forefront of everything we do, is just how do we do it and keep as much green as we can.
Have you had any instances at Patterson that you've had to kind of work around some existing landmark, like you were explaining at Orchard?
I guess the trees by the house.
100%. Similar situation to Orchard. 100% the big house and the even bigger trees around this house. Number one, the amount of land that we had to carve out for it. Without getting into real numbers, we could have built a commercial strip center to house ourselves down on Cleveland Highway for half than what we have in the existing house and the land we had to carve out around it.
When I first drove down Cleveland Highway and I saw the house was still there, I'm like, I wonder when they're going to get rid of the house. Like, I know the numbers say you should get rid of the house. And so I keep driving by and I see the dirt moving and I'm thinking, what? The house is still there. And then I see you start working on the house and I'm like, wait, what are they keeping the house?
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, what's Jerome doing up there?
It's turned out amazing.
Oh yeah, the house
and now
is
when
incredible.
we went to the grand opening, I'm like, oh my gosh, this place is awesome.
Yeah, it's an amazing place to work, and it's an amazing place to bring customers through. I mean, I think that's when especially we get a lot of people from out of town, so that's what they're first seeing. They come in and they're like, wow, like I get to be a part of every process of the building.
To be able to see the shower,
absolutely.
That's so helpful when we've got a new development, a little small 6-unit thing that we're selling right now. And the hardest thing I have to do is to explain to them what they're going to have. If they've never been in the development before, they have no idea what they're going to get.
Oh, yeah.
So the fact that they can walk through your space and actually see the flooring on the floor and see the showers already built and be able to touch and feel all of the materials that you have, gosh, that is such a better way to buy a house than to look at a piece of paper and go, oh, this is what it's supposed to look like.
It's just, at the end of the day, people are going to be visual. We've got, Kelly Smith, she's our interior designer, so she's really worked really hard to get that place. Like you said, we can show you every doorknob, we can show you every door style, we can show you every door wall color, light fixture different. So it's just different to see it. And because we are building, we always naturally would take people in units, but like right now we're in a perfect situation. Like everything's sold and everything is closed. Like, so I have one unit that after this week, I won't have anything to show that's finished. And so it's a good problem to have, but the model or the design center will definitely help so that we can show everything that we offer and you can actually touch it and see it. That just makes a big difference for the customer.
What happens to the design center when Patterson Farms is complete?
That is the $1 million question. We get that question a lot. We don't know, Jerome. I mean, we talk about it. There's some ideas. Some people have approached about like a white tablecloth type restaurant. It could be different things. There's some neat ideas. Obviously,
are you going to call it the Patterson?
I don't know. I mean, we wouldn't do it, but we have been approached.
The truth is, we don't know. We do have in the. And I should have brought it today to show you, but we've completely revamped phases 4 and 6, which is going to be much nicer and higher end than the rest of the development. It's kind of up on the hill as you rise, and but mixed in with it, there's going to be 17 Airbnbs, and those Airbnbs 600 to 800 square feet, but they're going to be the exact same quality as your house if you live there. Yeah. There's huge demand for this from everything from one of our biggest problems is when we're selling, a lot of our customers are moving out of million or multi-million dollar houses and they're downsizing, and they go, well, this is all great and this is what I want, but when my 4 kids and 3 grandkids and whatever else comes at Christmas time, where do they stay? So this is kind of where the idea started, but now
this is absolutely genius. I'm glad you're doing that.
We have requests from large employers in our community that needs, when they have trainees come into town or for whatever reason they have people come into town, they would rent one for a month or whatever. And then even from like the hospital, traveling nurses and all that kind of thing. So we think it's going to be a huge demand. That being said, there's also thought that we could turn that into like a little mini Airbnb hotel. So restaurant, Airbnb, hotel.
Thing, yeah.
Our offices could even stay there after Patterson. I mean,
that's what I thought would happen.
We've already taken down 2 peripheral properties since the original plat came out. So I mean, it keeps growing. It started out 400 units. Now we're pushing 500. So our length of time obviously would stay longer and longer. We have our eye on even more property for the future. So all that being said, we don't know. But something in residential in mind.
Yeah.
Corey, what you got?
Yeah, so I kind of want to rewind just to Patterson, like the basics of it. Okay. So everybody drives by it, but not everybody knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Michael and I, being in the business, we're a little caught up, and we've been to the grand opening. It was awesome. Like you said, we saw the upgrades and everything.
Yeah.
But can you kind of explain? So you're in multiple phases, like what's going on in each phase and just where the prices start?
Yeah.
The basics.
So what's really neat about Patterson is we are kind of offering things for different type of customers. So because of the housing study that came out a few years ago, we saw the need of different types of buyers. And so one of it's like our young professionals that, they might just be fresh out of college or they're a young couple. So we've got a product for them that are townhouses. They are a true townhouse. They've got 2 bedrooms upstairs. So it is going to be, again, it's kind of been our young professional. It's got a beautiful courtyard. They come in through the garage, and then it's like a nice courtyard where they can hang out. And we've got stuff for kind of, we've got a lot of people in the cottages, which are detached homes. Many people want to downsize, but they don't want to share a wall. That's just a thing for them, even though we can talk about this later. But we're so proud. I mean, the way we build, people have this fear that you're going to hear a neighbor. You will never hear a neighbor. I mean, you're just not. But there is that customer who says, I don't want to share a wall. So we've got cottages. That really has been kind of a mix. It's got like people who are not, they're still working. There might be 40s, 50s, even 30s. So it's kind of, and then we have people who downsized again, not going to share a wall. And then we've got what we sell as a quad, which are just connected units. They are amazing. We did wonderful with those at Orchard. People love those. They're very private. They connect with garages. So, at the same time, you do have a lot of privacy. So there's different products over there. We are phased out. Each phase is about a year. So we are wrapping up phase 1, getting into phase 2. But it's interesting that you say like people drive and they don't know what's going on. Like the amount of people that say, oh, like those apartments they're building over there, like it's not apartments. We really, for people who have questions, we would encourage, even if you're not in the market, you may know someone or you may just have questions about what we're building. We would love to spread awareness on what we're really doing and the products we're offering because, again, trying to keep people here, or we have people who were downsizing. And like, I have a lady that it always stuck in my head that her kids are in Atlanta. And she said, I almost had to go to Atlanta because you guys, before I found you guys, and I didn't want to go to Atlanta. And it was just interesting to me that she's like, my kids are in Atlanta, but my kids are busy. She said, and my friends are here. And so I'm going to go to Atlanta and my kids are busy and they've got their jobs and their families and everything. And I love my kids, but they're busy. My friends are here. I want to go to lunch with my friend, So it's just interesting that there are so many people that were looking for something and almost left. So I don't know if that answered your question, but lots of different things that we're offering in phases. Like I said, we are rolling out phase 2. So we're starting to talk to people about reservations and picking their spot. We've got premium spots that we've been talking to people months and they'll say, I want this one. And we've kind of said, we're not ready to give you that one, but we also aren't ready to just keep sending them back with their money. So we said, let's do a reservation. It's just an honest, like, we're going to hold it. You're giving your money down and we will regroup when it's time to start. So that's kind of where we are now.
I think that's a common thing that's happening now. Mm-hmm. I wanted to buy this truck and it's not built yet. And so I had to put a reservation down. With the supply chains being what they are right now, people are getting more comfortable with the idea of I need to place money up front as a reservation to hold my spot. And so I think it's
becoming normal. I mean, like you said, you're building a car, you're going whatever it is, like you do a reservation and at some point they're going to call you and say it's time. I was talking to someone else about another particular builder and I thought it was interesting. They have a wait list just to talk to you. So it's like, we can talk to you in October. And so at that point, we will tell you what we're doing. So it's not even like as much as we're really trying to do. Like some people are it's just interesting the way the world is moving. But we're really excited about phase 2. There's just some unknowns that we're bettering some of the plans. We have the same plans. Jerome can talk about that. But we have the same plans, but some people decided maybe once we built it, they thought this wall would be better this way or, this door moving this way. So we're making very small changes that would make the plan better. So
we'll put a link to Patterson Farms in the show notes. So if anybody's watching the podcast, they can just click on the comments and click Patterson Farms. Great. It'll take you to whatever your new phase is and what your new floor plans are. So they'll be able to get there really easily. Yeah,
but really, I say any of the changes were for the good. Wouldn't you say?
Like she said, if everybody that came in said, I would really like to make this bathroom a foot bigger and the bedroom's so big it wouldn't matter. We can take a foot. We went ahead and made that change. So we're not making it on the fly during the construction process.
You said something earlier, and I don't know if we were actually recording yet or not, but you said that we don't build custom homes, but we allow you to customize.
Yes.
And I think that's probably the best way to say it.
We have 8 pages, I believe, now of what we call standard upgrades. Yeah. So our units, number one, our units are very nice. There is nothing in our unit that we call construction grade. Okay. In our industry, there's a lot of construction grade, and it's not even bad stuff. It's just the entry level.
That's right.
There's nothing in our houses that way. So our base unit, we call it a base unit, is upgraded from a comparable project in any other community. But we have page after page after page of what we call standard upgrades, which means we already have it priced out for you. You can do it a la carte. We allow you, for example, 2 paint colors, but if you want 7, you pay a fee per color. It's a low fee, but you pay a fee per color, and you can paint as many walls, as many colors as you want to do. As Karina said before, we have many options of doorknobs, lights especially. When we have some amazing lights, Circa Lighting. We have a partnership set up with them. Through Carpets of Dalton, by the way, and Carpets of Dalton's a big partner for us. We only use Shaw flooring, and it all comes from Carpets of Dalton. So I got to give them a plug because they're so good to us. Yeah. But flooring, so take flooring for example. We have what we call our entry, which is a very nice grade of carpet or hardwood or tile. But then we have the best of the best. So it's just a matter of what you desire. We have people literally all the time do a base unit. They don't do a single upgrade. And then we've had people upgrade $40,000, $50,000, $60,000.
One of the questions I was going to have is how many people just choose the base, unit?
Some.
A handful. I mean, a handful do, but I would definitely say that most people add something. Like whether it just whatever it is, they upgraded to a different floor or different granite or whatnot. So I would say most people end up, even if you just really didn't want to do upgrades, they end up adding $2,000-$3,000 just in some small things that they maybe really want. But like Jerome said, I mean, there are a handful that don't add anything. And, I sell these. So what I tell a client is, you're still going to get a beautiful home. It is not the expectation. We would love to sell you upgrades. And truthfully, we always say this, that upgrade list was truly put together with customers coming to us and saying, I love what you're building, but I really want a screened porch. And so we would price that and we'd started that list. And I love what you're doing, but I want a fireplace. So that would add to the list. And truthfully, everything on that list was things that
Customer
people
driven.
were requesting. Yeah.
100% organic.
And it's funny, when we started building, we didn't give that sheet because, and Jerome and I are both really feel really strong on this. Like, we never wanted to give the impression when you walked in the door that, wow, this is a beautiful place, but I've got to add all this stuff to make it nice. And so truthfully, it wasn't something we ever led with. We just would talk to you about the home, tell you what it comes with. Then people were like, okay, what are the options? But that's really big for us. We don't want you to come to us and think, okay, but nothing's included, because that's not the case. But we do allow you to customize. And for me, because I do the sales, I can't tell you how many times people are like, oh, it doesn't come with the fireplace, for example. And our goal was always to price it as low as we could, building the quality that we were wanting to offer and making that, like Jerome said, a la carte. Because if I price it at this amount, because it includes a fireplace, well, you might not want a fireplace. And so you could have been a little lower. So that's kind of worked for us, that you can add as much or as little. So it's just kind of trying to find the balance of that.
Well, the plan is obviously working. I mean, you guys sold Orchard Place out before you finished it. You sold phase 1 out. You're trying to work on phase 2.
Yeah.
It probably could be halfway through with phase 2 if you actually just went ahead and signed contracts. But
probably materials, there's challenges. We're not excluded from the rest of the world on, and honestly, because everybody is living through that, people sort of understand.
I don't know how you could price it today. I mean, lumber today, I heard yesterday, it's like $4.95 per 1,000 board feet, and 16 months ago, it's $1,700 per board feet. Like, how in the world do you manage the volatility and the supply chain breaks that we have? How do you manage that?
We inventory. We're now for the first time in our career, and I've done this for 20 years, and we've built well over 600 homes. We're having to inventory. We have a substantial inventory of wood products, and then all of our plumbing fixtures, electrical fixtures. We buy those in bulk. So number one, we get a savings. There are deals to still be had today if you buy enough of whatever. So we're fortunate enough in our situation to be able to do that. So we fix a lot of our cost.
You avoid some of the sunk costs too, because you're not letting contractors just stand around and wait on windows to show up because you already have them. Yeah.
Correct. We went to a neighborhood a few months ago in Chattanooga, and there were probably 20 houses.
Oh, was this in East Brainerd? Because I think I know.
Actually, it was.
Yeah.
There were these houses built, the roof on them. They were doing plumbing, wiring on the inside, but there were no windows in any houses. We're ordering windows 6 months in advance. And this does, the negative to this is it does limit some of the things you can change.
Yeah.
Where in the past, we let you pick your front door. Or we let you, change a window from this to that. Well, we can't do that anymore because we're literally ordering these 6 months in advance. Garage doors at Orchard, we were closing units, and people would not have a garage door for months. Well, now we're ordering garage doors 6 months in advance. So we're not having any of those supply chain. I'm not saying we don't have onesies and twosies here and there, especially on a specialty product. But the things that we use in every unit, we're ordering at way in advance.
Yeah,
Where
so smart.
even plywood, not only the price, it's the availability.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think it's just one is the pricing, so that's one of the challenges, but the availability. So I mean, right now it's concrete. I mean, now
Yeah,
there's
we're
a
struggling with
shortage in
concrete.
concrete.
We're having delay. We had to delay a couple of closings simply because we could not get a driveway in.
And so that's crazy. You know, there's people like, what do you mean there's a shortage on concrete? So I could be wrong, but what I understand is some of the raw materials that go into making concrete come from overseas, and we don't have enough of that. So that's crazy. So, you know, just the shortages themselves. And like Jerome said, I think, you know, windows, what you used to order, 12 weeks out, and then it became like 24, and then it became like 38, and it's crazy. So that is a challenge when you come to us. Most of the time that's already ordered, but it's worked. I mean, people understand the world we live in, but we're doing everything we can to prepare for the things that we can. Obviously, not everything we're able to do that, but we do try to prepare. Like Jerome says, we're able to inventory, and that helps tremendously.
And Michael had asked earlier, I don't know if we were already rolling or not, but craziest or most unusual alteration or upgrade that anyone's requested?
Well, I mean, again, like we always say, we don't build custom, but we allow you to customize. So people do bring neat ideas that they want to bring, and some of them like we've embraced and we offer. Like I said, I mean, they keep happening. I guess Jerome likes the dogs. I mean, people love to add things for the dogs. None of this stuff is super crazy. It's just neat. Yeah. I mean, people add their tile showers for the dogs. I mean, it was funny.
Shower for the
Ken from Carpets of Dalton was in our office this past week, and we were talking about the dog washes. And he said, "Listen," he said, "I go all over, you know, looking at the different builders because he works with builders." And he said, "We make a tile that is shaped like a dog bone. So if we make a tile shaped like a dog bone, that tells you people are spending money on their dogs." So dog baths, that kind of thing's neat. I mean, I've had people who have a full-blown, like a media room where it's the biggest TV you can get, and they do like the Sonos pre-wired, you know, surround sound, or Sonos in the entire home surround sound. I can just envision those people waking up in the morning and just having like their classical music throughout the whole house. That's what I envision. This is actually, I hope that I can say that. We have our Dalton's newest heart surgeon over at Orchard, and he did the neatest things in his home. So he's been really welcomed, and I think loves Orchard. So we're proud that he chose to live with us. And most people are aware that he's in town, and he's bringing a lot of his colleagues here. So we're adding to our Hamilton group with him. But well, I mean, can you think of any like other than that?
Well,
kind
it's
of
hard
stuff?
to have a crazy request at Orchard, but I mean at Patterson because of you know, our floor plans are kind of set, and we don't allow you to change. We might allow you to move a little something here or there, but I do have a crazy story from our custom home side.
Right.
Is we built a house several years ago where it's about a 4,000 square foot house with one bedroom.
Oh my
And
word!
it was a retired lady who had no children.
Yeah.
How many times did you go? Are you sure?
Literally like 100, and she finally said,
that.
"I don't have any children. When I'm gone, this house is going to go to my nieces and nephews who I hardly know." And she said, "I could really care less what they got to deal with when."
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is. I remember that
That's
story.
4,000 square foot,
Yeah,
one
one
bedroom
bedroom.
house.
One bedroom house.
Yeah,
My
no,
goodness.
I mean, on my end, like I said, I don't know. I would love to have some crazy story, but it's just neat stuff more than anything. Like, again, some people just really have to have something that it's a part of their life every day where they're moving from, and they can customize certain rooms and add like a wine cellar or that kind of, you know.
A tiled shower for my dog seems a little overkill. I got to be honest.
It's actually extremely common.
I hear you, and I still think, wow, that seems a bit much. Like, I get dog bath. That makes a ton of sense. Dog goes outside, need to clean them off when they come in, whatever.
But think about it, Michael. Your dog grooms with my dogs, and
Guilty.
they are there just as much, and we know how much that costs.
I'd be better off having a tiled
You'd be
shower.
better off having a tiled
For my
shower.
dog.
Yeah,
There's
I
no
had
question.
a friend message me a couple weeks ago and said, "What shampoo do you use on your dogs?" And I'm like, I don't bathe my dogs. They only go to the groomer. Like, they go that often.
Let me call the groomer.
Yeah, I was
I'll
like, I
let you
have
know.
no idea. It sounds terrible. But we would probably save money doing a tile
Oh, for sure.
shower. So.
It's a much better financial decision to have Jerome come over to my garage and be like, here's your tile
Here's your
shower
tile
for your
shower.
dog.
Yeah, but it is neat, and people get creative. I mean, some people do like they look just as nice as like an adult shower, like the subways and the different, like they're modern and cool. So,
That's fascinating.
people can do that.
I got to ask about that 4,000 square foot house. What was the rest of the house? Was the living room just 2,000 square feet?
Ginormous spaces.
Kitchen, big, huge kitchen.
Yeah, huge kitchen. It was like a commercial kitchen. Crazy, crazy stuff.
I hope, the niece and nephew does it. I hope they don't call me and be like, "Hey, can you help me sell this house?" Like, I need to figure out what the comps are for this one.
The rooms were so big that you could probably go inside there and get it and
obviously build it up,
create a normal house.
Yeah,
and this isn't crazy, but we do have a customer at Orchard that took two and put them together. That was really
That's
neat.
pretty wild and crazy.
Yeah, So they bought 2 units, and on the outside, and you would think it's 2 units. So we can't change the outside. That's something we promise to our buyers. I mean, we're going to keep it all. The aesthetics is going to look good, but inside, I mean, they have the most amazing house. They have 4 garages instead of 2, 2 porches. So one she did, I think, a screened, and one she did a sunroom or something. I mean, it's just really cool. She's got a gym. She's got an amazing commercial type kitchen, theater.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
in phase 2, that's going to be an option. We're going to have a plan that we can show you that'll you can have 2 units combined.
Man, I mean, it's people are downsizing from something super big, so they want. That's what we found. They want what they have in their 7,000 square feet in what they're downsizing to. And how do you do that? I mean, so it
doesn't exist.
They keep what's important,
We show people homes all the time in that situation where they're trying to find something smaller but really nice. And you mentioned the housing study earlier. So 2 parts of that housing study. Number one, if you make over $40,000, 62% of those people don't live in Whitfield County. So Patterson Farms is built to address that problem. So that's awesome. The other part of that study, though, was our housing stock is really old.
Yeah.
And so for somebody moving to town that wants 2,200 square feet of really nice, we can't show that to them. We don't see it. Like, it just doesn't exist. So the fact that y'all are building it and creating those really nice spaces that are not 7,000 square feet, that are 2,200 or 3,000 or whatever, that is certainly filling a need in the market that we just don't have.
And not everybody, some people want a project, some people want a fixer-upper and they want to make it their own, but not everybody does. And so, a lot of people are looking for new.
We just talked about this on the last podcast. Yeah, they say they want the fixer-upper, but then after we show them 3 or 4, they're like, you know what? I think we are move-in-ready buyers.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem is the fixer-uppers are as expensive as a new house.
Yes, and that's the thing.
Or worse, they may cost the same, but you don't know who to call to fix XYZ. Like
exactly.
It's one thing to say, okay, we're going to change the flooring and the paint,
right?
But if we're going to open this
Gut
wall,
it out.
If we're going to now make this open concept, if you don't have the knowledge of Jerome and 20 years of doing it, that sounds a lot easier, and HGTV makes it look a lot easier than it
That's
actually
what I was going
is.
to say. I mean, we live in the days of HGTV, so
grab a sledgehammer.
That's what makes people really excited about a project like that. But the things we probably don't see behind the scenes.
Oh my gosh, I love HGTV, but they skip so much of the really important pieces.
Yeah.
It's like, and now this room is open, and it wasn't before.
Well, and like you were mentioning, you may not know who to call, but I mean, the challenges I'm hearing now is like, we will come see you in 6 months. I mean,
or better yet, you try to order an LVL beam. Like, oh, well, that size that you need, it'll be in October.
Right.
Or it'll be in November. And you can't do anything else to the house. Like, it's not like you can do the rest of it while waiting on the beam that goes in. So,
That's true.
It's
a challenge.
Doing the fixer-up thing is always harder than it seems. Corey and I were trying to flip a house last year, and it took us months to find a contractor. And then when we found one, we never got the quote. And so finally we just sold the house wholesale to another builder.
Really?
And he finished the project. Like, he built it.
Yeah, you hear that
It's
all the
hard
time.
to find. And we're in the business. So imagine if it's somebody that
Absolutely.
is from out of town that's moving here and like, I want a fixer-upper. It's a difficult thing to do. So if we were to show them the fixer-upper and then bring them to your place, they're buying at your place every time.
Yeah, no, we've got some old homes. We've got some neat homes, but whoa, I mean, you've got some that look like they were in a time capsule for sure.
Speaking of the time capsule, we're probably getting to the end of the show. What's next for Greenwood developers? I mean, you're talking about phases, and there's 6 phases, so you're going to be where you're at for a little while. But
we're here for a long time, but
we're here 6 to 7 years. We have a couple of things in the works, but we can't really announce it on the air today.
Okay, fair enough.
But truthfully, I don't know if we got this at the beginning. We've already added 2 peripheral properties.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our current focus is simply expanding what we have.
Yeah.
So I think I said before we've redesigned. We kind of designed originally. You may have saw the plat. We designed all phases mainly to see how many units we could fit.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we've gotten into it, we kind of this works, this doesn't work, and so we're kind of changing things around in a couple of the phases. And we're even going to offer a much more high-end product, a true Chicago walk-up brownstone. 2 or 3 stories. If it's 3 stories, it'll have an elevator. But kind of the Cosby Show, Chicago look. So that's coming up in a couple of years. That's now that we've released phase 2. My focus has turned to these kind of things. So.
Jerome is showing our age. He said the Cosby Show. We'll have to let the
yes,
kids
a lot
Google
of these
that.
people probably don't understand what that is.
I know what the Cosby Show is.
I knew exactly
Do you
what
know
you
what the
meant when you
Cosby
said
Show is?
Chicago.
I know exactly what he's talking about. I can
Did you
see
ever
that.
watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I like old stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
Old stuff.
TV land.
Here you
Oh,
go.
wait a
old
minute.
to
Wait
core.
a
Old to
minute.
core.
We were, okay, I've got to say, we were in a meeting. Mitchell's, so Jerome's brother that works with us, his son does our social media and stuff. We were in a marketing meeting. And he said something. We were talking about somebody and he said, I mean, you get these ladies that are like 30.
These old ladies that are 30.
Whoa, hold on a second. I about fell out of my chair. Or like, it was just hilarious. Like, he was so genuine. They're like, I mean, it's just like this lady that's 30 years old. And I'm like, are you kidding me right
ouch.
now? Yeah.
So basically, for the foreseeable future, we can find Jerome and Karina on Cleveland Highway.
We are going to be there for a long time.
In the design center.
Yes.
We can find you there for quite a while.
We'll be there for a long time. And we would love to have you back when we have more going on that we can show you. Maybe we can bring you on site that will, can share more of what's happening.
Yeah, as we get further into phase 2, I'd love to come kind of get an update.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, good deal. I appreciate you guys coming on, Jerome and Karina.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It only took how many months?
We've been working on it for about 5 months.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you for thinking of us.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Awesome. Signing off. I don't have any headphones to take off.